Let's talk about how the Warriors almost fumbled this game, what was going through Steph Curry's mind when he called a timeout, what the Warriors will have to do as they head into Game 5 to get a win, and so much more. But before we do, let's light them up. Oh so fresh, oh so smooth, it's your boy Eli back with the groove, and the Golden State Warriors won their game last night, tying up the series, which is now 2-2, and we are very excited as we head into Game 5, and the Kings still have home court advantage because the Warriors weren't able to steal any games on the road, but they were able to defend home court. So technically, in some people's eyes, the series still hasn't started yet because nobody has taken a road game. But if it comes down to a Game 7, then we could be in for a treat. But the Warriors, they had a 10-point lead as they were closing out the third quarter. The ball was getting moved around in that last play there. It almost looked like they were scrambling, but then Jordan Poole was able to find Klay Thompson in the corner to knock down a three, and they were able to take a 10-point lead. And now the only thing they had to do was to keep up that lead for another quarter, and they were not able to do that. So that's going to be a big problem. If the Warriors can't hold leads while they're at home, it's not going to be any easier while they're on the road. But no matter what, a win is a win.
A win is a win. A win is a win. I don't care what y'all say, a win is a win.
And we're happy that we were able to win this game and tie up the series as we head to Sacramento for a game on Wednesday night. Draymond Green was able to play in this game, and his presence was felt immediately by a tech from the refs. And what a fitting way for Draymond Green to come back in. He wasn't lacking any aggressiveness. He's always going to fight, and he was right there with Fox, and they were going back and forth. They both actually got techs. So it's good to see that Draymond is back, and he's back to his old ways. The Warriors started off this game really well, and they were playing good offensively, but even more importantly, they were playing good defensively. They were locking down, everybody was set on their man, they had the switches right, everything was just flowing for the most part, and the Kings also weren't hitting some buckets that they might hit at home or they may not hit at home. The Warriors, believe it or not, have the third best defense in the league when they're home. The problem is, throughout the regular season anyway, the number went all the way down to 26th or 27th. So the swing there between home and away defense is just unbearable, and it's unsustainable. Now, am I worried or stressed out about the Warriors going on the road? No. And why? Because the Golden State Warriors have been playing close games ever since they came into the playoffs. They haven't been blown out, and all their games have been close thus far. I'm not expecting any of that to change. There's a switch that kind of goes in their head when the playoffs come, and it's like, yeah, we gotta lock up, pay attention, home or away. And you could see that they had a chance to win both games, game one more so than any of them, but they had their chances and they just weren't able to execute perfectly down the stretch. But it was good nonetheless to see that they were able to fight. Because if this was the regular season, I can assure you that they would have gotten blown out by this Kings team. But there's something to be said about playing the same team over and over and over again. You start to pick up on some little things, and that's why playing in a series is totally different from in the regular season, because in the regular season you just pass by them once or twice a year at random points in time, so there's not really much game planning. It's just like go out there and play basketball for the most part. But at the same time, they do have their scouting reports and stuff like that. There's also back-to-backs. There's none of that, so that gives them time to prepare, make adjustments into the next game. So that's why the playoffs turns into a total different situation rather than the regular season. Now, Draymond Green in this game missed so many layups. He was 2 of 9 from the field, and most of the shots that he took was actually around the basket, and there was about 1 3-pointer that he attempted. But aside from that, he needs to do better as far as making those baskets goes. He has like the floater that he shoots, and then there's like his layups that I mentioned he missed. And he said in his podcast that he'll do better. I believe him, and we'll definitely need those points heading forward, because those little things make a huge difference as we head into a 7-game series. Now, one of the things I noticed in this game is the referees were actually letting the players play for the most part. They weren't calling fouls every second. Even if they drove, they was like, all right, that's clean, we're gonna let it slide, or not even let it slide, but they just let the game play. And that was actually encouraging to see, because these teams both like to run the ball up and down the court. So when when that motion is stopped, they kind of start to lose their momentum and heading back and forth and, you know, just constantly running up and down, and they kind of start to fade away. So I do want to shout out Jordan Poole, as he was able to come into this game and give 22 points off the bench, going 4 of 5 from the free throw line, going 2 of 6 from deep, and even 8 of 15 from the field. Jordan Poole played a much better game than he's played in any game this series. He really stepped up to the plate and he was able to knock down some shots. He was able to attack the basket and get some of those foul calls and do just what he does best, and we need to see more performance like this from Jordan Poole on the road, especially as we know in game 1 and 2 he was benched from even playing so bad. So as we head into game 5, it's going to be crucial that Jordan Poole plays good minutes. Now, I keep hearing this talk around the town, word around the streets, that people are saying, oh, Steph Curry, he's a superstar, so he gets that superstar whistle. I just want to debunk that, because that is one of the biggest caps I've ever heard.
Stop the cap.
Steph Curry is probably one of the only superstars in the league that does not get that whistle. And I don't know if it's because he's always shooting threes, or if they don't like him, or whatever the reason is, or if they're just not fouls, he does not get that whistle. But the Warriors were in incredible shape as they were heading into the fourth quarter, and they blew that lead. And how did that happen? Well, first of all, they let the Kings go on a 5-0 run to start off the fourth quarter, so now they're already in a 5-point game versus being in a 10-point lead. They weren't able to hold that run, as they allowed them to eventually go on a 13-4 run that made them take that lead fully. And then the game was close and it was back and forth and, you know, bucket for bucket. And it was essentially like that until about the 4-minute mark, where the Warriors started separating themselves again. But then just as they were separating themselves, Steph Curry called a timeout. That I've heard a lot of people take the blame for this timeout. I've heard Steve Kerr say, oh, it's my fault. I've heard Draymond Green say, oh yeah, that was on me. I've heard even Steph say, I should have known better. But in reality, it's got to be on Steph. He's been in the league for this long, and he has to know whether we have timeouts or not. So that cost them a technical free throw, which Malik Monk was able to shoot and make. And then De'Aaron Fox was able to shoot a 3-point bucket after that, and that was now a 4-point possession off of something that should have never happened. So that's really what made the game close, and then from there on it was like neck and neck, bucket for bucket. On the next play, Steph Curry had a floater that really should have been made, and he missed that floater, which is just something you don't see often. Then as they head back over to the other side of the court, they were forced to play good defense, which they were able to, and they got the ball out of De'Aaron's hands and then forced Harrison Barnes to miss the shot. So down the stretch, they were the wiser team, and you could see their playoff experience coming into play there. So heading into game 5, I think the most important thing for the Warriors is definitely going to be their defense, as if they are able to lock up and play good defense throughout the game, they will definitely be able to come out with a win, because home or away, their offense always tends to show up, but they always tend to get overshadowed by the other team's offense. So if they're able to lock up and lock down and put out their good defense, then they should be able to win this game and potentially end it in 6. But I want to know what you guys think, so comment down below who you think is going to win this series and in how many games. No matter which way it goes, this is definitely going to be an amazing series, and it has been very interesting thus far, and it's definitely not going to stop now. This could even go to 7. So if you guys made it to the end of this video, comment green down below just so that I know. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. I have a video that I'll be making tomorrow breaking down some of these plays, so stay tuned for that. You guys can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and even TikTok as well. All my links will be in the description. And until next time, let's light 'em up.